Previously, we were discussing how to tell whether or not something is a function. And we discussed that if there's ever a choice of outputs, in other words, more than one y value for any input, that is, any x value, it's not a function. A function is a special type of relation that has only one output for any possible input. So if there's ever a choice of outputs, it's not a function. We started to look at graphs in a previous video, and I want to give you a rule for figuring out whether or not something is a function by looking at the graph. So I just grab the pen. Remember that to be a function, for any input, that's any movement in the horizontal direction, you have to only be able to find one output or hit the graph by moving to one spot in the vertical dimension. Okay? Any input has to have only one output. Graphically, we can think of that with a tool called the vertical line test. The vertical line test states that if any vertical line crosses the graph in more than one place, then it's not a function. So think about that for a moment. If any vertical line crosses the graph in more than one place, that means that there is some input that has more than one output. Because what that vertical line is doing is touching the graph at the two places where one input has two outputs. So let's take this vertical line. If we take this vertical line and slide it across like this, looking for places where we touch the graph in more than one place, we don't find any, then we get to the y-axis, and for a moment it looks like we might have found a place where we're touching the graph in two places. But actually, if you were to zoom in on the graph very closely, you'd see that this line and this line down here never actually make it to the y-axis. So this red line sliding across never actually touches in two places. And then as we slide off to the left, you can see clearly that our vertical line never touches in more than one place. However, let's come to this circle over here, and very quickly you can see that at pretty much every spot along the circle, this vertical line is touching the graph in more than one place. So that means that this is not a function, whereas this one is a function. Okay, so again, the vertical line test is a way of checking easily on a graph whether or not the graph is the graph of a function. If a vertical line touches the graph in more than one place at any point on the function, it's not a function. If a vertical line only touches at one place throughout the function, throughout the graph, then it's a function.